Let's continue and learn about how to model nodes and beams sa Staad. Okay, there are multiple ways to do yung modeling. So, what I'm going to show you guys is yung basics muna. And later on, we will be trying the other options. So, dito we have, whenever you open yung software for the first time, or I mean, if you have created a file for the first time, you have there yung menu bar. Right? And then yung mga toolbars natin, yung main toolbars natin, and then yung workflow, followed by the modeling or analytical modeling options on top. So may option din tayong pwedeng gawin dito. So make sure that you are always under geometry while you are still starting yung model. So the first option you can choose from is to use yung mga grid options. By the way, before that, if you have edited yung command file, now if you have edited this one, you have changed something, like if you have changed yung content nito, you should save the file. So isi-save muna natin to. So asan ba yung option dito? So you can use file, and then if there are changes on your Staad command file, then dapat may option kayo na pwedeng mag-save. So any edit that you have done, i-save mo muna. So, and then after nyan, i-close mo yung Staad editor as much as possible. This is in relation to yung previous video, which is yung pag gusto nating baguhin yung structural type. So anyway, after nyan, after you have saved the command file, close the window, babalik ka sa geometry dapat. Make sure that the active modeling tab is geometry. And then, balik tayo sa may geometry under menu. And then, yung pinaka first option dito is that you can use yung grid. Alright, so under geometry, may option tayo dito for yung structure. Ayan. So, yung structure group. And then, under grid, we can provide yung modeling or create yung modeling through grid guidelines. Yan. So you have different options there. You can use beam grid or kaya plate grids or solid grids. Now, since we are modeling a simple model, then maybe you can just work with beam grid muna for now. So yung beam grid kasi, we have the option here to draw through yung grids. Kasi kung tignan natin, pag clinic natin yung beam grid, lalabas yung option na to. Or I mean, yung screen natin will be changed and be presented with grid lines on the drawing area. By the way, ang tawag natin dito is yung drawing area. Alright, so ito yung lumabas din na pop-up, snap, beam. So ito yung option ng ating grid. Andito lahat yung settings ng grid natin, katulad ng so yung mga frequency niya, I mean yung mga options niya. Anyway, so yung existing natin na default grid dito, we can edit this one or we can create additional grid. So like for instance, edit tayo, and then we can change yung plane. Yung plane dito is naka-base dun sa may plane dito sa may global axis dito sa ilalim. So we can change it to XY or kaya YZ or kaya balik natin sa XY. We can change the numbers of frequency. So kung gusto natin na mas marami, pwede nating dagdagan yan. We can change the spacing also as indicated in millimeters pala. So naka-meters yan. Now, so let's say gusto nating i-model yung structure natin through grids, then we can definitely change the following settings. We can also change the origin of the grid line. So yung origin dito. Alright? But as of now, let's just leave it as is muna. So i-okay natin yun. Let's use yung default. So let's say gusto natin mag-drawing ng beam that is 5 meters towards the X. So let me just draw some axis right here. So let's say yung ating Y is yung red, vertical upwards. Ito yung ating Z. And then ito yung ating X axis. So yung direction ng nung beam natin, assuming it is passing through yung x-axis na 5 meters. So, paano ba tayo mag-drawing using yung grid lines? Now, naka-establish na yung mga spacing ng mga every line natin dito ay 1 meters, no? So, 1 meter yan. Tig 1 meter yung mga spacing yan. So, ibig sabihin, we'll just have to start from 0 to 5. So, if the starting point of our node is from 0, then click lang natin dun sa 0, and as you can see, yung mouse natin is being followed by a line. So, parang rubber band na pwedeng hilain. Yan. And then, ito kasi is a representation ng beam element natin. Yung single element natin na beam. Okay? So, kung gusto natin ng 5 meters, so, hanapin natin yung papuntang x direction. So, that would be until this joint right here. So, itututok ko lang yung mouse ko dito, and then kiklik ko na lang sa may number 5. And let me just press escape as of now. So, press ko muna yung escape para mawala yung modeling. Right? So, looking at the information presented dito, kasi may mga tabulations tayo dito kung hindi natin napansin nung una. Meron tayong mga tabulation dyan. So, we have a tabulation for yung nodes, and then yung tabulation for beams. Alright? Before we started doing some actions dun sa screen natin, initially wala pang laman yung mga tabulations natin. But when we started clicking on some of the points, may mga na-create na mga elements. So sa node natin, we have 2 elements that were created. Node 1 and then node number 2. And while I'm selecting them one by one, naka-highlight din dun sa may drawing. Alright? So I've selected 2. Ang nangyari is that naging red yung 5. Number 1, yun, red. Dun sa beam naman, pag clinic ko yung number 1, highlighted yung buong line element natin. Alright? So, that's one way of producing elements or nodes and beam elements through yung grid options. Alright? So, if you want to model your structure using this method, then you'll have to create multiple grid lines. So, dapat mag-create ka ng multiple grid lines so that doon ka magdo-drawing ng mga elements na gusto mong i-drawing. So, commonly, yung default ng ibang software katulad ng eTabs and other softwares like Midas. Ito yung default nila. Mas prefer nila yung grid methodology. Pero in my case kasi, I really do not like yung modeling na ganito kasi taxing sa may mouse. I would rather use copy-pasting. Mas mabilis. Alright, so an alternative is that if we do not want this option, we can also do other things. So, para bumalik yung default na display, may pwede tayong gawin. Mag-click lang tayo any of the modeling tabs. So, click lang natin sa specs siguro, and then balik tayo sa geometry. Babalik sa original na display. Yan. So, existing pa rin yung ginawa nating element. So, as you can see, isang line, tapos may dalawang dots doon sa kanyang both ends. Now, what I'll do is select everything. So, paano ba mag-select? Control A, or on your drawing area, right-click lang natin, and then meron bang select all dito? I think wala. Or you can just change your cursor into yung beam. Alright? And then, i-click mo lang dun sa beam element, and then you can press delete on your keyboard, or i-right-click mo lang and then look for delete, which I do not think available dito sa option na to. Yan. So, another option instead of using your keyboard is that, so pag press kasi natin yung delete, may lalabas na notification. Before we discuss about this, an alternative way of deleting element can be through yung additional tools dito. So, let me just remove the selection by pressing escape. or kaya i-click ko doon sa drawing area para mawala yung selection. And nawala yung additional dito na menu. Now, balik ulit ako doon sa drawing area and then I'll select the element. And the option for yung tools for beam element has been activated. So I'll just select this one and then meron tayong option dito to delete the element. So pwede nating i-click and lalabas din yung the same option. So let's talk about this notification here. So it says here that one beam or beams and associated physical beams, if any, will be deleted. So ang ibig sabihin lang nito is that merong isang beam tapos may nakakonect sa kanya ng mga elements, which is pertaining to yung mga nodes dito. So yung idea dito, yung node kasi parang independent yan sa main elements. Later on, we will be discussing about different Staad elements. But as of now, kapag dinilit natin yung beam, yung nodes kasi parang dependent yan sa other elements. So kailangan yan na, although we can retain it, pero dapat laging may nakakonect sa kanila. So if, let's say, i-delete natin yung main element, which is yung beam, we will be notified like the one displayed right now. With the one that is being displayed right now. So, binabalaan tayo, we are being warned that once we have deleted yung isang element, may indication na merong mga additional sa kanya. So, baka may mangyari dun sa model. So, let me just confirm kasi alam ko na meron yung existing na dalawang joints. And then, may additional ulit na notification. It says here that if you have deleted beams, then may mga nodes tayo na walang connection. So, kapag dinelete ko, if I've deleted the highlighted element right here na beam, maiiwan yung mga nodes natin. The nodes will be left without any other elements connected to it. So that's why we're being asked if we are willing to delete them as well. So kung ayaw mo, you can just select no. Or pwede naman na ayaw natin lahat na may natitirang element, then we just select yes. And it also follows that the content of the tabulation will also update. Okay, so another alternative is we can just simply use yung tabulation mismo, which I normally prefer using instead of using yung grid element. Yan, so yung modeling workflow ko starts with establishing my origin. So what I mean is that I'll be starting with a single dot or a single node dun sa aking model. And commonly, ang aking origin will be starting from 0, 0, 0. And then by doing so, may lalabas na dot on the middle of my screen, which represents the node that I have just created. Right? So node muna yung ginawa ko, wala pa tayong beam. Now if we want to replicate the same procedure or the same output as the one we have created previously, so what I'll do is I'll go under select, or pwede nating gawan ng isa pang joint. Pwede ulit nating i-manual na i-type dito. So I'll just say, so papuntang X, right? So 5 meters towards the X direction. So 5 meters daw dito. 5 meters. So I can just indicate my coordinates like 5 meters along the X, walang difference sa Y, and then walang change sa Z. So ito yung representation ng 5 meters natin. So ito yung 0, 0, ito yung 5, 0, 0. 0, 0, and then 5, 0, 0. Right? Now, how about if I want to create another node that is located 3 meters above this joint? Another option that we can use is the copy pasting option, which we'll be using from time to time. Commonly, yun yung mas prefer ko. So, I'll go under select. Because as of now, we cannot just select the nodes. And yung active na selector natin is actually the beam selector. Beam cursor. Now, we'll have to change the cursor that we are currently using by going under select and then look for nodes, node cursor, and then i-click lang natin sa kanya. And kung mapapansin natin yung mouse hindi kasi mag-appear kapag nag-zoom. Yung mouse pointer natin has changed to a selector that is quite different. So meron siyang arrow tapos may bilog dun sa ilalim. Now we can just select yung mga joints. What I want is to select yung joint na kailangan ko and then ika-copy paste ko. Because all I need is a joint that is above, nasa taas lang na 3 meters. So ano ba yung upwards na direction? That would be Y. So on my keyboard or using my mouse, so right click, nakaselect yung node, of course, right click and then copy or Control C and then right click ulit, Control V. So paste node. And then ito yung direction daw kung gaano kalayo yung location na kung saan natin ipipaste yung element. So what I want is 3 meters from that node. So 3 meters dito sa Y and then we press OK. Alright, so ayan yung ating node. So one option is using yung tabulation. Pangalawa is we can just copy paste the elements. Next, how do we create beams? Kasi doon sa paggamit ng grids, ayan, automatic kiniklik lang natin doon sa mga intersection, right? Pero ngayon, hindi na natin pwedeng gawin yun. Rather, if we are following this methodology, we will be starting with the creation of nodes first, followed by adding the beam elements. So that's why ang ginawa natin dito, nag-create muna tayo ng mga joints, mga nodes. So like I said, di-discuss natin later on yung mga different types of elements. So nodes, beams, plates, surface, solids, and others. So where am I? So magkikreate na tayo ng mga beam elements that would be under geometry and then beam element group. You have there the option to create or add beams. So may add beam tayo dito. You can just click this button right here. You can select if it is midpoint, other options. Basically, you'll just have to click this button. So i-click mo lang natin yan. Magpapalit ulit yung cursor natin. So parang cotton buds. Tapos may plus dun sa ilalim. Point your mouse towards the first joint. Joint number 1 of the beam that you will create. Click on that node and then followed by doon sa direction or doon sa pangalawang joint na kung saan ilalagay natin yung beam. Right? So, let me repeat the process. No? So, click doon sa first. Kung gusto mong ito yung first joint mo, then ito yung i-click natin na first. First node, followed by first node, followed by the second node. Alright? So, what are the other options that we can choose from? Pwede rin tayong gamit pa ng iba pang mga options dito. So, marami tayong options dito. Beam layout, insert node, and then we have there the option to create beams along yung mga directions, X, Y, Z. So, subukan natin gawin yan. So, what I'll do is create series of joints dun sa ilalim sa lower level para i-simulate ko yung location or yung starting point ng mga columns ng building, for instance. So, I'll change my selector to node. Alright, I'll copy this one along the Z papunta rito. Going on this direction. So, eto yung positive ng Z. So, eto yung positive ng Z. Eto yung negative. So, dapat yung direction ko should also follow the direction of yung sign convention. Ito yung positive ng Y. Ito yung positive ng X. Yan. So, kung negative yan, okay, balik tayo dito. Select and then node cursor. I'll select this node right here. Copy and then paste. Along the negative Y or negative Z kasi yun yung gusto kong direction. Negative Z. Let's say 4 meters ko i-move. So, that would be negative 4. And then, I'll press OK. And may lalabas dito na joint. 4 meters away from the original node towards the negative Z direction. Right, I'll add one more. So, i-copy natin to. Papunta naman dito ng 5 meters. So, anyway, medyo magulo. So, I'll just delete this column right here. So, i-delete natin yan. Right? So, select, and then node cursor. Come on. Okay. 5 meters along the X. Alright, and then together with the other node, so I'll select them both. So, yung selection process can be through highlight. So, box method. Pwede rin by clicking the element. And then if you want to select multiple elements, you press Control on your keyboard so that ma-retain yung original selection. These nodes right here, I will copy them one more time. Papunta sa negative z direction na 3 meters. So, copy-paste, negative 3. Now, one of the advantages of doing this kind of methodology of modeling is that mas madali siyang mag-duplicate. Kasi halos paulit-ulit din lang yung mga elements ko. If I'm going to use grids, I think that would be a little bit tedious for me. So, mas prefer ko talaga yung ganitong method. So, again, I'll select yung mga joints na to while maintaining yung control dun sa keyboard para ma-retain yung selection ko. Copy-paste ko ulit towards the negative pa rin. Mga ilang kaya. Just for the sake of this example, negative 2z. Right? And then, after nyan, gusto ko pang magdagdag ng isa pang bay. Alright, so gusto ko magdagdag ng isa pang additional na mga joints dito. Right? Na ang distance towards this direction is 3 meters siguro. So again, naka-activate to. Select lang natin yung mga elements. Dapat naka-press yung control dun sa keyboard. Yan, tignan mo dun sa may joints, dapat 4. Yung selected, yung highlighted, and then on the drawing area, Control C, Control V along the X direction, positive 3. Right? Again, I'll delete this beam right here kasi ayaw kong nakita siya. So, I'll delete this one. It's asking me to delete the additional node. No. Para hindi ma-delete yung node. Gusto kong naka-retain pa rin. Balik ako dun sa under select, right? So select and then node para ma-select ko ulit yung mga nodes ko. I-select lang natin lahat. And then after nyan, we will just use yung option kanina na nabanggit ko. So we will go back under geometry and then select natin tong point na to. So whenever you are encountering a command that is a little bit difficult to find yung reference niya, itutok mo lang. You'll be given a tooltip. Yung tooltip dito is may lalabas na pop-up na maliit. And then andoon yung information. No? So it says here, connect beams. Ano ba yung connect beams? Along yung mga axis na to. So whenever you have selected yung mga joints, mag-activate yan. Let me just remove the selection by pressing escape on my keyboard. And then i-click ko doon sa my screen para mawala yung selection. Ngayon, hindi na active yung mga commands. Yan, so disabled. Disabled sila. Pag sinelect ko lahat, or even if I'm going to select 2, then naka-enable na. Alright, so this option or this command can only be active if we have selected yung mga specific nodes. Right, so I've selected all. Gusto kong i-connect lahat along the X, so connect beams along X. 8 beams are created. And then again, gusto ko lahat ng sa Z connect beams along Z. So, less taxing on your right hand para sa mouse, more on typing. So, yun yung nakasanayan ko kasing modeling methodology, and I believe it's a lot faster than using yung grid option. Now, of course, you can mix and match methods. So, depende sa convenience. Well, anyway, so after nyan, we can perform other copy pasting. So, or hindi copy-pasting yung gagawin natin, no? So, ngayon, I'd like to create the columns for my structure. Let's say, ito yung grid beams or grade beams. Magkikreate tayo ng columns ngayon. So, paano natin gagawin yan? Let's say yung column natin is 3 meters from the floor. Pantay-pantay naman sila lahat, no? So, 3 meters. So, ibig sabihin, I can just copy-paste yung joint na to. Pero, ang problema kasi dito sa copy-pasting, magkikreate ka pa ng joint. So, may alternative tayo na modeling methodology which is under structures. So, geometry and then structures. You have there the option to translate, repeat, translational repeat. Ibig sabihin, ikakopy niya in a linear methodology. So, kung gusto mong i-copy yung item in a row na tig 20 meters yung distance niya ng 5 times. So, instead of copy-pasting 5 times, mas magandang translational repeat na lang yung gagawin mo. By doing that, minsanan lang yung procedure. So, let me just show you guys. So, for this step, let me just assume that my structure is a 2-story structure with distances of 3 meters for each level. So, ibig sabihin, kung copy-pasting yan, 2 beses ko i-copy-paste. And then, i-connect ko sila. I'm going to use the connection or connect beams tool right here twice. But, instead of doing that, I'll just choose translational repeat. So, again, change your cursor into yung node and then select all of your nodes and then go under geometry and then look for the translational repeat tool right here. So, itutok lang natin and lalabas yung tooltip na translational repeat. I'll click that option and then a window will appear in my screen where I can provide data of how am I going to perform the copy-pasting of elements. So, my direction, number 1 is I'll change my direction to Y because I want my nodes to be copied vertically. So, above my initial nodes which were selected a while back. So, Y. And then, numbers of steps. 2 floor. So, 2 rin yung steps ko. Yung spacing nila should be 3 meters apart. Now, if you want that the other one is a little bit different, like for instance, I want the second floor to be 3.5 meters. So, here, I can just change the input data to spacing. The spacing input data to 3.5. And then, apart from hindi natin uulitin na copy-pasting na 2 beses, I can eliminate the part wherein mag-a-add pa ako, magko-connect beams pa ako because we have here an option to link the steps. Linking the steps means that I'm going to connect them after copying. So, yun, link steps. And then, once you're satisfied with the inputs that you have placed, then you can just press OK, and as you can see, apart from nodes, we have also added some columns or beam elements dun sa ating model. And with that, we can now proceed with the other steps katulad ng adding beams dun sa ating second floor and then yung sa ating roof. Alright, so yung next part will be, I'll be discussing about mga different types of elements and ano yung purpose nila. Okay, so yun lamang for this video.